Welcome to episode 12 of Good to Know Real Estate. Today we'll be talking about contingencies in a real estate transaction. Once the seller has accepted the offer from the buyers and everything's all signed and I's are dotted and everything, there are certain contingencies or criteria that are part of that contract and that need to be met by a certain date and time. These criteria or contingencies are clauses within that contract that are typically under four major categories. Number one, home inspection. Number two, attorney review. Number three, appraisal. Number four, mortgage approval, and clear to close, the most important one of all. The home inspection is typically in this area paid by the buyer and conducted, must be a professional home inspector. And when that's conducted, typically it's supposed to be for, or the intent is that it's for health and safety issues, and also for the buyer to learn a little bit about their home. If there are deficiencies that are found, the buyer's attorney sends the seller's attorney a letter saying, itemizing what they are and asking that they be corrected. The seller's attorney talks with the sellers and they respond to that letter. They may agree to do everything on the list, nothing on the list, or some of it. And sometimes it requires going back and forth, and hopefully in the end everything is agreed to and everybody's happy. Otherwise, the contract can be canceled by, typically it's usually canceled by the buyer because they want to have maybe a health or safety issue taken care of, and maybe they don't have the money to do anything more. Who knows? Anyway, then it comes to the attorney review. The attorney has already started some of that process with handling that home inspection issue on both sides. Then they also add, if there is something that they want stricken out of that contract that doesn't apply, they include that in their attorney review. Or if there's something that needs to be brought to someone's attention and make sure that they understand, that maybe it's in a trust and they want to make sure that that is brought up before they get to the table. It really doesn't matter that it's in a trust. It just needs to be handled slightly different, and they always want everyone to be aware of that. So they do whatever it is. It's all legal things, even though the contract was written by attorneys, and that sometimes there are additional things that need to be added. Then we come to the appraisal. The house has to appraise out because otherwise the lender isn't going to lend the money if it's not at the value that the people are buying the house at. So if there is, let's say there's a $25,000 deficiency, the buyers were going to put down 10%, but there's still $25,000 that needs to be somehow taken care of. One thing is the seller says, okay, I'll reduce my price $25,000. Not normal. Second one is the buyer will say, I'll give you the 25. And in today's market, sometimes that is happening. However, not everybody has an extra $25,000 in their bank that they can use, or that they feel that they can use. So sometimes there's an adjustment on both sides and they come to an agreement. If they can't come to an agreement, that is another out for the buyer or the seller. And the house is put back on the market and the buyer goes and looks for another home. Then once those issues are taken care of, if everything is a go, then the buyer needs to get that final mortgage approval which will include a clear to close, meaning that everybody can go to the title company and close, get the keys and get their money and go away happy. That's what everybody wants. I'm Ellen O'Toole with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Chicago. Have a great day.